welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll jump straight into it. I'll be discussing how and when to enter high probability trades in order to ensure you're analyzing price motion correctly. So for the first part of this video, I'll be looking for adequate setups, and this just entails reviewing the charts for obvious pullbacks and retests of the low or the high to either respect or break support and resistance. Okay, so you guys can see I have QQQ pulled up on the chart, and you can hit the little drop down arrow in order to get additional information as far as like market cap and volume. I've showed you guys that before. So now I'm going to go ahead and start to chart for price levels. Go ahead and click the little pencil icon, go into new, and then click the $sign, and you can begin to chart for price levels. Now I won't do a ton of charting in this video just because I've done it before, but I haven't showed you guys how to chart on mobile. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a few levels of support and resistance that are going to be imperative. That way, everyone has a general idea of price motion and zones and how to make sure that you're setting up these trades to have the highest probability for success. That way you're not losing any money in the market. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple more levels that I see that are important. Here and here, and let's do this last level right about 432. Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and drop this down to the 2 minute, which you guys know I love to trade off of. I'm going to go ahead and scroll it over, and you guys will see the stock and how it performed today. So for example, you guys can see in the morning there was definitely kind of a break, and we saw that the stock was in an uptrend. And then for the midpoint of the day, it pretty much consolidated, and then it had a little small dip, and it kind of raised again to continue the trend upward towards the end of the day. But we're going to focus on more so the morning time, because that's when QQQ saw a vast amount of volume versus, as you can see in comparison, there was a couple volume bars that were pretty high midday, but for the most part, the morning was like the strike of receiving the most profits for a lot of people, I can tell, just simply because of the motion of the stock. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to show you guys a couple things in terms of support and resistance levels, but I also want to show you guys some indicators. So let me do just a couple lines of support and resistance that are important here. And then I think I see this level that's really necessary to chart for as well. Here, I'm going to move that, and that's good. Perfect. All right, so within this zone, that's where I'm paying attention to. Why? Because again, just studying the charts, knowing historical analysis, you can pretty much understand zones of confluence and divergence. These are going to be imperative things. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my first indicator, which is going to be RSI. Go under study search, type in RSI, and of course you can edit. If you want the length of time to be greater or less than 14, go ahead and adjust. Overbought and oversold, you can modify that as well. I'm going to leave it at 70 and 30. You can change the price to close, the low and the high, whatever you choose. I'm going to leave it at close. The average type you can change. You can show the breakout signals to either be true or false, the move to be up or down. And then, of course, you can also change the colors. Me personally, I'm going to leave it at these pink and purple colors just simply because that's what I prefer. But you can feel free to change that if you'd like. Hit the back button, hit done. And now we see the RSI is pulled up on the chart, and we can see the various levels throughout the day. Okay. Now, for those of you who are unsure about what RSI is, I definitely just want to give you guys just a bit of information about how the RSI is useful. Essentially, it's just an oscillator. It helps determine the divergence as either positive or negative. That's pretty much what it does. So with that, you don't want to deviate from the fact that the price action should ideally reach a key level before you enter or exit a trade, so that you aren't trading based upon emotion or FOMO. So essentially what this means is that if the stock is rising and making new highs, more often the RSI is reaching new highs as well. But on the other hand, if the stock is making new highs, but the RSI starts making lower highs, this is a signal that the pricing uptrend may be weakening. So this is known as negative divergence. And at that point, you can decide if you want to exit the position or allow your stop loss to reach its level before the decline is too drastic for your account. And this works in the opposite as well for positive divergence. If the price of a stock is making new lows while the RSI makes higher lows, you can assume that the lower lows in the stock price are losing their downward momentum and a reversal is soon to follow. So those are the key things to understand about RSI, okay? So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the 1 minute. I'm going to drop it down. I'm going to scroll all the way over so you guys can see the chart for the 1 minute time frame. And again, you guys can see the price levels in comparison with the RSI. For the most part, if the stock is rising, so is RSI. But the key thing that I want to pay attention to, again, I'm going to go ahead and look at that morning time. It's going to be the 8:30. Obviously, I'm on Central Time up until about 10-11 a.m. I think these are the key points for me personally for this stock, okay? At least for this time of filming. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull up my first major indicator that I like to use other than the RSI is going to be the exponential moving average. I'm going to go ahead and type in EXP, click on it. I'm going to edit. I like to leave my 9-day alone aside from the color. I change it to this blue color here. Go back, and then I'm going to add another exponential moving average. That is going to be the 21-day. Now with this 21-day, I like to leave it green. I'm going to hit done. And now we see the exponential moving averages for the 9-day and the 21-day are pulled up on the chart as well. So it's important to note about these two things, okay? So when the 9-day EMA crosses above the 21-day EMA, it generates pretty much a bullish signal, which this is just an indicator that a potential buying opportunity is something that you should, be aware of. So if we see that blue line, which is the 9-day, cross over the green line, that's going to tell you, hey, it might be an uptrend, so you might want to go ahead and, take a play for calls. And we can see that here, for example, at, let me show you guys a couple examples. As a matter of fact, let me scroll back over so I can start kind of very fresh from the beginning. We see right here at about 8:35. Let me show you this. Here, 8:35. We see the EMA's crossed. Again, the 9-day has crossed over the green 21-day. So that's showing you that that may be a signal that the market is going to go up. And what did it do? It did just that, okay? Now, it continues to do this. It doesn't always reign true, but you can see, again, it crossed here again. It doesn't always remain true, but for the most part, it does. So we can see that this particular time at about 8:46, let me show you that, here. So about 8:46, we see it cross, but the green crossed over the blue, okay? So that shows you a reversal signal. Now I'm going to go over a little bit more, and we see it again. The EMA's crossed once again, the 9-day over the 21 at about 8:51, 8:52. Let me show you that. Here. So we see they crossed again, and that lets us know that that's a bullish signal that the stock is going to go up. So you guys pretty much catch the pattern. When that 9-day is above the 21, it's going to, for the most part, the stock will rise. When it's below, the stock will fall. It's not always true, but again, for the most part, it's a high probability setup to have that understanding pretty much there and set for your trading plan. Now, with that being said, for me personally, I would have taken a look at these different indicators and decided whether or not there was a setup that made the most sense for me. Based upon looking at the RSI, for me, I'm going to go ahead and drop it back to the 2 minutes so you guys can see why I like to trade on it. So let me scroll over and we will take a look at the morning once again. Okay, so for me personally, I would have seen all these signals, these three ovals that I pretty much showed you guys at those time marks. I would have seen those signals and said, okay, I can pretty much just about see that the market is going to have an uptrend for at least the morning part. So with that being said, I would have been patient. I wouldn't have hopped in any trade until about 9:20. Okay, reason being is because I would have saw the EMAs and in terms of how close they were. You guys can see how close they are at about the 9:20 range. For me, I would have probably hopped in this trade about 9:22, and I would have rode it up until about 9:30 and took profits. And then I would have let my winners continue to run. 9:35, I would have took more profits. And then about 9:37, 9:38, I would have hopped out of this trade. Why? Because I would have had enough momentum in terms of understanding the oscillator with the RSI, and then also the EMAs being my second and third form of confirmation, that this trade would have been high probability. Okay, so for me personally, that's just how I would look at it, the psychology of it. So let me kind of show you guys what I mean by that. So at this point here, here, this would have been obviously my first indication based upon what I saw from the crossing of the EMAs on the 1 minute. That would have been my first clue. Again, then I'm going to take a look at the RSI. Now for me, I would have gone, like I said, hopped in this trade in about 15 minutes, took profits, and been clearly out of the trade because that would have been enough motion for me. Okay, so with that being said, I definitely want to show you guys, because I had one subscriber, one of my new subbies said, how do you actually place trades? Like, how do you jump into a trade? This is going to be the setup that I use. And of course, I have other indicators, but I don't want to get too deep into it because I know if you have too many different indicators on the screen, it can be confusing for new traders. And I want to make this video very beginner friendly. So again, it's not going to be a whole lot of indicators on the screen because I don't want to confuse anyone. So I'm going to show you guys how to now enter a trade. If you said to yourself the same thing I was saying, like, okay, this is a high probability setup. How do I go about placing a trade? So I'm going to click under options. Okay, so take a look at the actual stock price and what it's trading for currently, which is 455.80 for QQQ. Now, let's say, for example, you wanted to pretty much take a look at the calls for, let's say you thought the stock would rise to about 456. You can go ahead and take a look at the call price. The strike is going to be 456. And then, of course, we're going to look at the bid. I always say buy the bid and sell the ask. So we'll take a look at the bid, and let's say you wanted to go ahead and purchase a contract. This is for 2 days this is set for 2 days of DTE. So I'm going to click on the 2.88. It's telling us tap the option quantity to edit. I'm going to go ahead and you can tap that there, and you can decide how many contracts you want to buy. Now remember, one contract essentially is worth 100 shares of a stock, which is why they're premium. So if you feel like you want to do anything more or less, go ahead and decide on that. So I'm going to hit next. Now, in order to make sure that you're entering these trades to be profitable, you have to make sure you set a stop loss, okay? So I'm going to show you guys how to essentially go about entering a trade and setting up for the exit of the trade to be executed perfectly, okay? Or at least close to perfect as you can. So the first thing you're going to go ahead and do is click on buy, and then you're going to see an option leg. You can choose to configure this spread, but again, because I'm trying to make this video very beginner friendly, I won't even configure a spread right now because I think that may be a little too advanced. I'm going to hit cancel, but you can choose to do that. Now, when you click on buy, you have a couple different options on the ways in which you want to enter the trade. But let me show you some of the things that you can have to help you kind of decide on exactly what you want for your trade. At the top right, you see this gear icon. I'm going to click on it. You can scroll down. And when you do, you're going to see the order editor layout. The first thing you see is the risk profile. You can toggle this on or off. This is going to tell you the probability of your option trade. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Click done. Now you see the risk analysis and the chart and the table. I'm going to go ahead and click table, and it's going to tell you your break-even points. It'll also tell you your max profit and then your max loss. The chart will tell you the probability of that particular trade. Okay. So with that being said, you can also turn on the price slider. I'm going to leave that. And this is going to show you how you can choose to have the mid, and you can move it up or down, whatever direction you choose. Okay. So within this, you can go ahead and select, have the limit set if you want to have that for the market. You can also do stop, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do this. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is hit more and go to create an advanced order. So once you do that, you're going to go ahead and select what you would want for your stop loss, and then of course for your take profit target. So this first one is going to be the first trigger OCO. You can go ahead and leave it there if you want, because again, it'll do essentially the same thing. It's just two different ways to do it. So let me show you how to do it with just simply an OCO. So OCO, you're going to go ahead and select what you would want. Let's say, for example, the price of the premium is going to be 288, which we had. You can kind of move this down to kind of get close to that 288. And then, of course, hit the limit for it. You can choose to have it good till canceled or till the end of the day. Totally your choice on that. Then hit done from there. And then add an order. This is how you would do the stop. So let's say, for example, you want to be able to be stopped out of this order, not to lose a whole ton of your profits or not to lose a whole ton of your revenue. So go ahead, sell. Go to stop. and then of course leave it to day, and you can adjust this to be whatever you would want it to be. I'm not going to dictate that for you guys, but whatever you would want it to be in terms of your stop, go ahead and do that and hit done. And now you're going to see you have set for the buy to be essentially whatever your target is for your take profit, and then the sell is going to be whatever you choose to have your stop limit set to. Okay, so that's the OCO. Now let me show you the first trigger. All right, so first trigger, same kind of thing. The only thing you're doing with this is setting the stop loss and the take profit target kind of in a bracket style. Essentially, it's a trigger. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And again, you can click to sell at the limit, and then again, slide it up to whatever. Oops, I'm sorry. Let me go back to it. Go here, and you can choose to sell at the limit based upon whatever you want. And then, of course, you can leave it at day or good till canceled, and then go to review. Oh, sorry. Let me go back. You're going to go here, and then you're going to go to more advanced order. This is going to be buy the limit. And then you're going to hit done. Now you can go ahead and select the first one to sell at the limit at whatever you would want it to be sold at in terms of that pricing. Then you're going to hit done. And then you can add your stop loss. Now this is where you're going to go ahead and hit the next one. Go ahead and click on it. This should be at stop. Okay. And again, slide it up or down based upon what you choose for how you want to sell that contract. Once you feel like you have made either enough money to take profit, or if you feel like the trade may go against you, whatever you feel comfortable risking, your risk management strategy is totally your choice. Okay. Once you've decided on that, go ahead and select done. And then you'll see, again, it's the first trigger OCO. So you'll buy it and then, of course, sell it at the take profit, or it'll sell out at the stop loss. So hit review, and then you can review anything that you have for it. Now they will have disclaimers at the top for the order confirmation, and this is basically saying the liquidity of the risks and of course fulfilling the orders. And then it's also talking about the non-standard expiration date, so it's just giving you kind of like a warning about it. You can totally choose to modify anything that you would want. If you want to edit it, go hit edit, and then you can change anything you need. If you feel like it's comfortable after you've edited, go ahead and hit send. Of course, I won't do that because this is just an example, but this is how you would place your take profit target and your stop loss limit. So let me go back, hit cancel. Now, this is going to be the two ways I would recommend doing it. Again, if you're a new trader, I wouldn't recommend not having a stop loss set. It's just really too much of a risk. So I would definitely make sure that you have a stop loss set for any order that you're placing. Even if you're a veteran trader, it's important not to risk any more than like 10, maybe 5 to 15% of your account at any time. For me personally, I don't risk anything more than 15%, just because it's just not a smart investment for me to, you know, blow through an account or have more than 15% at risk at any time. I don't personally like to do that, but hey, everyone is different. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be the two things that I wanted to cover in this video. I will make a more detailed video covering like stop losses and how you can set like a trailing stop, for example, a stop limit, the market. I'll explain all that in a more detailed video, but that'll do it for this one. So if you found this video to be helpful, feel free to leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.